We are live, buddy. I can see your face on the YouTube. I can hear my voice. Hi, everyone.
I'll welcome everyone to the second episode of Spill the Bricks. The idea of Spill the Bricks is that I chat with some people from the Lego community. In the meanwhile, both me and the person build a Lego set. And today we have on the stream 2bricks, aka Richard. I don't know what you prefer to be called during the stream.
It's okay. You've already doxed me, so Richard is fine. No, I was kidding. No, Richard is fine. 2bricks is fine. Every now and then, for the thousands of new listeners pouring in who haven't been listening from the beginning, you can just say 2bricks, who has a rebrickable store that you can visit to get high quality mocks. Just work it in organically every so often.
Okay. So perhaps a little bit of an introduction. You are a YouTuber slash custom brick build designer. People might know you from any of your ultimate play scale Star Wars builds. I've had a few filmed and videoed and put on my channel. The second thing you're known for is that you have also made a very extensive micro fleet, capturing most of the ships that exist or that come to pass from basically the whole trilogy.
Yep, that's correct. Not just the trilogy of trilogies, but all of these supporting elements as well, such as video games, comic books, obviously the animated shows and the live action shows as well. It's all in there. And I'm trying to expand it, but I'm slow and my attention is divided. I just realized I'm about to be 40 years old and I'm like, oh wait, I think maybe I have ADHD, and I do. So I'm very good at starting projects and I'm also very good at abandoning them.
Round off the big introduction is that you've also made several famous wizard school pieces from a previously well-known author that is now a bit more murky.
I've made a giant castle where kids go to learn magic and be in mortal peril. Those are the two things they go there to do. And it's a big ongoing series that I'm adding to, and I'm still continuing to add to, even though people still to this day send me nasty messages to say that I've abandoned their favorite thing, the thing that they followed me for. I have not abandoned it. I'm simply not publicizing it as much because we don't want to bring any more visibility to that aforementioned murky author.
So first, to everyone watching, I wish you all a happy 2026 and may the pile inspire. Second, can you explain to us what the pile is?
Yes, the pile. RIP, the pile is no more, but what the pile was in the 2bricks lore. I had my organized drawers with all my parts, and I had crates with things to be sorted, and then I just had a big pile right in the middle of the room, right underneath of my display tables where my magic castle sits. That was just a big mound of stuff, of Lego of all types. It's actually been separated out into crates awaiting sorting because I'm actually redoing my whole setup, my whole organization from all my Lego. So yeah, the pile has been decimated, unfortunately, but it lives on in our hearts and memories.
Like as a meme, it was funny, but I do also remember that you gave kind of some context to it.
Well, it was handy in a couple of ways. Yes, you're right. Because what I had was I would have I need to steal these 7 elements from this official set for a mock I'm building. So then the set would no longer be complete. So I'd be like, well, since it's no longer complete, I'll just throw it in the pile, right? Like a full ATST or whatever, and it's just missing like 3 parts. So I'm like, well, it's not complete. So on the pile it goes. And then as time goes on, I would build more mocks. I would pinch more and more from those things. And a lot of times, if I'm looking for a specific part that I know I don't have a lot of, I'll go on like Bricklink or one of those websites that kind of catalogs things, and I'll be like, which set did this part come in? And I'll be like, oh, I have that set sitting in the pile currently, and then I could go and scavenge it from there. So I would it was like a shorthand way of hacking organization without being organized at all. Now I'm trying to actually be organized, and it's a lot more work, but yeah, it's so far I think it's worth it.
There's also a second part of this where we try to build a set.
But I'm going to be doing the AT today because it's just fun and it's colorful, and I thought it'd be cool to. Want to rip this bad boy open? I have a special mighty pen, but the pen, as we all know, is mightier than the sword. But this one actually is a sword as well. It's a knife pen. I used to just slide my finger underneath this lip right here, and the amount of paper cuts I got, I tell you. So I'm knifing it from now on.
I open the boxes and then I just put all of them on the attic and never look at them anymore. But the idea of not having them anymore kind of seems scary. I either continue with the Grogu I started last time, or get started on the K2SO, or I also have in my possession the famous set loved by every Lego Star Wars collector, the Lego Sand Speeder.
Purple.
I'll leave it to you. So votes are now open.
Because I like to see things get completed once they're started. You know me. That's my whole thing. I vote for the pram.
I don't know why, but I feel like it looks better than the big one, even though it's tiny.
Yeah.
It looks more cute, I think.
I think so too. The funny thing about Lego scale is just going up or down by like 2 studs can change so much about your entire build. It's kind of crazy. The Darth Vader helmet lower jaw piece, I was using that for a while to represent snow speeders in my microfleet. And so now I have a sand speeder version because I have the nougat version of that. So there you go.
Hot take, but I kind of like the sand speeder.
Everybody loves to see that E.C. Henry or somebody come up with fan design for different types of snow speeders and whatnot. And then when Lego tries it, everyone loses their minds. I liked the flame one too. I made a video about that being an underrated set. The one from just recently. Oh yeah, so Vader here has no face. He's just got a lump of raw cookie dough for his head, which is creepy.
Care to elaborate what else people might know you from?
Well, okay, on YouTube, I was pre-2bricks famous, I guess, for doing a 6-year-long Gorillaz fan film project that currently I think has something like 21 million views. So it's by far the most successful thing I've ever done on YouTube. And of course, it's the one thing that's not monetized. So yay. That was just a fun little thing I did in my spare time because I'm a big Gorillaz fan. And then also I actually had a career in animation working on TV and feature films. So I was on some TV shows like BoJack Horseman and Rick and Morty, Community when they did an animated special episode where they did a G.I. Joe thing. And so I was on those things, and then I transitioned over to feature. I was at Disney and DreamWorks, and very, very briefly at Blue Sky right before they were shut down by Disney from the whole merger thing. How to Train Your Dragon 3 was my first feature film. And then I worked at Disney from Raya and the Last Dragon as an animator all the way through to Strange World, and then a little bit on Wish, although not as much on Wish. But that was the big 100-year of Disney anniversary movie that nobody seemed to really like. And then I decided at that point, I'd been doing Lego as a hobby and as a stress reliever from animation for so long that I decided to transition over to doing Lego and YouTubing and stuff full time because I was doing okay with sales from my Rebrickable store and things like that. And I decided to try to give it a real go. So that's what leads me here, talking to you fine folks now.
If you look at your videos, you've used that animation experience to make like the intro where you animate all the figures coming together and making your logo.
Yes.
Do you think that background also informs in a way how you design your mocks? And if so, how?
The stuff that I was doing before feature when I was doing 2D stuff, I feel like there was a lot more of this feeling that I had of really wanting to go in deep into detail and perfect every little thing. Like an example being when you're working on a show that's animated in way back in the day, Flash, right? Then they switched over to mostly Toon Boom, but same kind of principle. You'd have to redraw poses for things that you didn't have, like a hand. And I would always go in super, super, super deep and like make sure that I connect the lines perfectly and like fill in the color right to the very edge, even though it's 1 pixel and you'll never see it. And then I realized that like I really like detail, and I've always been like that too with my drawing. I always go like, whenever I draw stuff, I always go details first and then work out from there, which is obviously not the approved correct way to do stuff. You're supposed to start loose and then get more detailed over time. I'm almost like a 3D printer in that way. I'm just like printing out lines of finished surface, and then I just go from start to finish. And I kind of do my mocks that way too. So what I had to really focus on, not just getting lost in the building a bunch of detailed sections and then being like, how do I connect these? And then kind of having to struggle, actually planning ahead a little bit more and thinking about the internal structure first and then building up, So in a way, it kind of worked against me because I was so obsessed with the skin of the model and the finished thing. And then I was like neglecting the structure stuff. But as far as like animation skills go, like I really do genuinely believe that there's nothing that you learn in life that is wasted. So I really try to use everything, even if it's like, oh, one time I had to learn this how to do this one very specific thing for a show that I was on. I try to like lock that away and deploy it elsewhere if I can. Got some Christmas gifts from Darth Vader. Yeah, they're just generic Christmas presents. I think this one is probably a
Actual gifts.
bomb blow up rebels with.
Yeah.
And this one is evil dark side crystals that Darth Vader is going to crush up and then snort to so that he can keep his dark side powers maxed out.
So Darth Vader proving that even if you're on the naughty list, you still get presents. Possibly this process of having to figure out that sometimes you need to think of structure. I wonder if that has anything to do with the T6 shuttle you had to build quite infamously.
That's part of it, yes. Well, no, it goes all the way back to the Millennium Falcon. That was the first time I really realized, like, oh wait, hang on, I can't just wing it. I have to actually like stop and plan this out a little bit more. And then when I got to the Stinger Mantis, I knew obviously from what it does in the game that I was going to have to take the structural side of things seriously because it's got a bunch of crazy moving stuff, and that's why I ended up ultimately doing two versions of it because I didn't crack it fully the first time around. Oh, this is a really cool. Sorry, I just encountered a really cool technique. This tile intersects with these little corners of this wedge plate right here, but the little notches that are cut into the tile to allow for studs perfectly line up and allow that to like not collide. Wow, that's really cool. Nice job, Lego designers. But yes, so the rotating wings and the structure of all that and making it so that the body wouldn't just snap in half when you pick it up with all the weight towards the back. That is what then gave me the confidence to say, okay, maybe I can tackle the T6. And I have tackled it. I just haven't made instructions, though I'm working on it. A lot of people assume I've abandoned it because I haven't heard anything, but I'm working on it behind the scenes. If only I could make content out of like sitting and making instructions, the most boring thing imaginable, then I'd be golden.
I don't have proper taste because I've already suggested a video where you just went over how you were able to score the minifix from the Death Star for free.
We should caveat that. So what you mean by that is that I put in an awful lot of effort to purchase the Death Star, make a video reviewing it, make a modification video or two, and then complain to Lego that the set was actually quite bad quality, and then have them apologize to me by sending me an extra Hot Tub Stormtrooper to make up for all of the malformed pieces that I had in my set. And then I resold the Death Star Sans minifigures, and I was able to just about recoup the $1,000 that I spent initially to buy that set over a period of several months. There was like 14 parts that were either really badly scuffed or that literally wouldn't fit together the way that they're supposed to. And I meticulously documented those things. Not because I'm keen to get something free, it's because I want Lego to know that they have issues and be better. To be clear, I do still think that Lego makes overall the best toys in the world. When they start to let the quality of certain elements let the rest of the set down, then it's like, yeah, that's worth letting Lego know that they're messing up on, because it is kind of tainting the whole rest of the experience. There's a certain level of magic that Lego still has, like a goodwill that they have with people. It's like entrenched in us, that when you see a thing that you love combined with Lego, it's extremely exciting. You know, even if you're mad at Lego right now because they messed up this or that specific detail, or it doesn't, but there's still something about like, oh, but it's an official Lego this thing that I love, that holds a lot of sway, and that's what I don't want Lego to lose, and that's why I kind of give them a hard time when they mess up, because there's something special about it that I don't want to get lost. Yeah, it's the first time that's ever happened with Lego. What is interesting though, and what I was happy to see, is that they had me go and look up the specific serial number of my particular Death Star, because they're investigating which factory produced it, which factory packaged it, and they're going to go and chase that down, because Lego really doesn't want to have to spend a ton of money on customer service, and so they do take it seriously. It's not just like, oh, well, sorry that happened, gee whiz, you know. And it does seem to be that that was an isolated thing. I've built a bunch of sets since and not had any more issues, but that one in particular was like, what a set to have it go wrong on, right?
Yeah.
And to be fair, also like Lego, I've worked at Lego retail in the past when I was first starting out before I got my first animation job, and so it was back in 2011. And back then, the amount of scams people would try to pull on Lego was absurd. I witnessed with my own eyes somebody return a set and say all of the minifigures were missing from this set, and you're like, okay, all of them, and they're like, yeah, and you're like, okay, they were, which bag were they in? And they're like, well, there was a bunch of different bags that were supposed to have minifigures. They're all missing. And it's like, okay, so either, I mean, but you have to take their word for it, right? But either they're lying, or somebody else returned that set after having removed the minifigures and did exactly the same thing that I'm thinking that this person is probably doing in front of me right now. But back then, Lego was just like, well, no questions asked. We'll take it back. You get a full refund, no problemo. And we would open those sets up and we would throw the bricks into a big bin and then we would sell those as bulk. And they don't really do that anymore because I think it was just simply too easy for people to run scams. Yeah, so I think Lego does try to respond as best they can to eliminate scamming, but also not hurt the genuine customer base. For the most part, so far, I've liked the way that they've been able to pivot. Like putting minifigures, minifigures used to come in the first bag. You would build all the figures and then you would start on your set, right? And now they spread them out because it makes it less easy for someone to say, all the minifigs were missing, or the bag that had them in was gone. What is the Star Wars one? It's
Poodoo? Banta Poodoo.
Yeah, Poodoo.
Poodoo.
Yeah, that's right. No, I was just gonna say, like, whenever I'm around a friend that has young kids, I because I can't curse around them for some reason, that's all I want to do, and my brain just keeps throwing out curse words. And I'm like, oh, stop it! Oh no, you're ruining this child.
That's also a type of education that they get.
It's true.
And then if they get it while the parent is still there to correct it, it's better than to only get it at school, right? So in a way, you're helping.
You know what? That's what I'm going to tell all the parents in the neighborhood next time. I'm going to exactly tell them that. Core Fluxo said it, so it must be true. He's on the internet.
And I'm wondering, did you have a Dark Ages?
I did. Basically, until the PlayStation 2 came out, every Christmas and every birthday, I was like, I just want more Lego. And then I was like, I just want more PlayStation 2 games. So I had a Dark Ages from about the age of 15 until I started working at the Lego store and remembered how much I love this stuff. And I was getting reprimanded all the time for building too much when I should be helping customers. My pockets were always stuffed with Lego, and I was always like constructing some kind of little thing, and then I was reactivated at the age of about, I want to say, 25. So I guess I'd have like a 10-year dark age. I will carry the shame with me forever.
So you got the very beginning of Star Wars being introduced to Lego?
I got the first couple waves, and my interest very quickly waned in Lego Star Wars. I was at that point where they were making cool enough stuff, and the stuff I can appreciate more so now. But at the time, I was like, I don't know, this looks kind of like lame toy stuff. It's not really that cool for me. And then they didn't really start making like what I would consider to be absolute peak sets until around 2008, 2009, when the designs really started to hit what we consider to be a modern Lego Star Wars standard. And then I was starting my Dark Ages right around the time that Bionicle was getting really popular, which is really funny because that's like, for a lot of people, that's what brought them back into Lego, right? But for me, I was kind of like, I don't know what this is. It's not Lego. These are like action figures. What is this? So yeah, I had a lot of stuff that I didn't appreciate back then that I look back on now and think, man, if only I knew what I was missing.
I think there might be a bit of a difference there in America and European Lego, because I bought a few lots with a lot of Bionicle in it, and since I didn't have nostalgia and so for it, I just tried to sell it, but I couldn't get that to sell. So basically I put all of it, like 15 or so Bionicles, in a bin. I think I sold it eventually for €4. because
Yeah.
no one was interested and neither was I. So,
Yeah.
picking up quickly on the chat, it is true that for me, I think it started for a few years before for the Nintendo 64 because I was a Nintendo boy. So possibly if we would have met back then, we would have said, yeah, no PlayStation, no Nintendo. But now we're all, I hope, past that, or perhaps you never were taking sides in kind of a way to defend what you had spent your pocket money on.
I was never same goes for the like PlayStation Xbox debate. I was always like I'm been doing PlayStation this whole time. I'm not intending to change, but also like peace be with you, brother. You do what you got to do. You get whatever game console speaks to you. And yeah, I went all the way through and I have a PS5 and I've never switched because I just get stuck and I like what I like.
I see you've hit a milestone.
Yeah, it's funny. It's up until now, it's looked like a little kind of holiday train type of thing with these like wheels. Actually, this is something that I wanted to touch on with like why I think Lego is still the best. There's some magic that they have where when you look at a little scene like this, where there's just a candy cane and a chair and a little rug, there's still some magic to it that they have that I don't quite know. Like other brands don't seem to know quite how to capture it where it feels cozy, even though it's just nothing. Like there's a couple of tiles representing some Christmas stockings in front of a little basic fireplace, but it just feels good. And I've noticed that storytelling seems to be lacking in a lot of the other brands where you build something, you have bricks and you build a space, but you don't feel what that space is really for. And so I think that's the iconography that Lego's that's like dialed in on for so many years that I think other brands could learn a lesson from.
That makes your bricks or your builds kind of special because in your ultimate play scale sets, I feel like that is also something that not all custom builders, that you kind of get the details in there to imply all of the things that make it a space that is lived in. And that's probably also why I like the Manta Stinger, because it feels like a van life but in space thing where you have everything there.
Yeah,
You were talking about coffee,
totally.
you have a coffee drip thing in the back, you have the couch with the breakfast table, you have the other couches. I feel like a lot of your builds, those that I like best, also capture that, like the Mantis Stinger, the Ghost, the same. All of the bedrooms have a little bit of detail, have a little bit of enough insinuated detail that you can fill out all the blanks, but still leaving some room for your imagination to also do its work. Yeah, if I
Thank you.
compare it to some of the earlier builds that I did in the beginning, that sometimes when you build a custom set, it has a bit the same problem that people are trying to replicate a form, but then if you look at the detail of the interior, it's missing that spark that you mentioned that Lego has.
Yeah, I've definitely experienced a little bit of that as well. And one of the fun things for me about getting to go to like a Lego convention with my models is seeing the kids' faces when you peel off the roof and you show them what's inside and they just light up and they start like scanning and taking in all the little stories. And yeah, that's kind of the magic of Lego, right? It really speaks to your imagination.
Have you been to exhibit some of your models yet to a convention?
I've only been to the local Lego convention, which is Pasadena Brickfest Live. I've done that twice, and it was fun. But for me, transporting my models is not the easiest thing, so I try to keep it local. But I know I haven't ever done any of
Nice.
the like brick fair or slept my way out to Virginia for that stuff. But I would like to eventually. It's exhausting though. Be kind when you go out to conventions to the people exhibiting. They're tired.
Casper, this is where the juggernaut roots of the vehicle still shine.
Oh, I see, I see. Yeah, he's referring to how the AT-AT was basically just they just took the body of it, they flipped it around, and then he gave it wheels instead of legs, and that became the Juggernaut.
Yeah, some
It's
younger
actually kind
people.
of crazy. Look at the shape of the body of the AT-AT Walker, and
Yeah.
then the head, and if you just compress the head slightly and kind of tuck it into the body a bit more, it's just the Juggernaut, and then to put wheels on it. Also, a lot of people said their minds were blown when I observed that the Naboo N1 Starfighter is just an X-wing backwards. And then once they saw it, they couldn't unsee it. And I'm like, yeah, they just flipped it around.
Growing up as a kid, what was your favorite theme and what was your favorite set?
Until Star Wars came out, because that immediately became my favorite theme. I loved the few classic space sets that I had, which I had gotten at like yard sales and stuff. That theme was discontinued before I started building. And then also the aquanauts and aqua raiders and anything underwater. I love when I was a kid. I loved the idea of being under the sea, as it were. And so anything that could kind of speak to that, especially like big yellow submarines, I was like, oh heck yeah. So that was my jam for sure. So the big Aqua Raiders base, I forgot the name of the set now, but I had that one. That was my first like proper new in the box Lego set.
If it was a theme where you had an environment that was dangerous in terms of oxygen, where if you stepped outside you would die, that was kind of
Yep.
the thing. Yeah, I see someone calling out Lego Atlantis.
I think that came out around 2009 and ran
Ah,
through around 2012, I believe. Those were good sets, but I was well into adulthood at that point and didn't have a lot of disposable income. You know what's funny? Actually, the first set that I bought that I officially was like, okay, my dark ages are over. I'm back. Was the Black Pearl, the first one,
oh,
because I'd saved up all my pennies from working at the Lego store, and they used to have a day where retail employees would get access to 50% discount on sets below a certain price threshold. So you couldn't like get the Death Star 50% off, but anything that was like $100 or under, I think you'd get access to. And the Black Pearl was $100, so I bought two and
do
made a
you
big
want
Black Pearl out of it.
an update on that? Because I have some insider knowledge. Well, I'm not an
Oh,
insider, but I heard it from two people who work at Lego.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's basically the same, but it's now all days. And it's just that you have a fixed budget per year. And it's pretty big, I think 1,500 euros or something, that you can buy Lego stuff at 50%.
I think I may have to go back and work at the
Back.
Lego store. I gotta say, I worked a fair amount of retail in the beginning of my, job having life, and the Lego store was by far the most fun I ever had. I mean, it's just a very fun place to work. Yeah,
So,
it's everybody who's American goes to Europe and complains about how poorly the customer service like treats them, and then everybody who's European who comes here is shocked by how poorly everyone treats the retail workers. It's just kind of a weird American cultural thing that like you're expected if you work retail or work as a server, you're expected to be treated as subhuman scum by the customers. I don't know why people do that, but maybe
yeah.
some of it is like I'll never be a billionaire, but at least I can make this guy's day a little bit worse, you know?
Aggression therapy or something, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
At the cost of,
I remember the cost of someone's soul.
yeah, so,
Uh, I remember hearing like people. There was a little bit of that in England where I grew up too. Of like I went on holiday to France and they was all so rude to me over there. Because like they don't smile. Like they're just like, yeah, I'm doing my job. Here's your table. Sit. Order your food. Like, what do you want? Like, I'm not. Whereas I think Americans and to a certain extent the people I grew up around in England were like, no, you have to look like you're enjoying it or else I'm having a bad time. A little bit of healthy like being spoken down to by someone whose services you rely on, it keeps you humble. It's good. It's a good thing.
you had Lego Dark. I'm going through my questions. You had Lego Dark Ages and you came back with the Black Pearl. For me,
Hmm.
it was the Slave One, by the way. Um,
Nice. The
do
USDS one?
you? Yes, the first one, the very first UCS Slave One. The by
Nice.
now less perfect since the new one is apparently better, but back
Hmm.
then it was kind of perfect. Um, do you still remember what the very first set was you ever got as a kid?
I believe that I do. Oh, well, okay. I know that I had some sort of little like incomplete moon buggy thing. It was literally like five pieces. So the way that it worked is when I was growing up, my father was a interior decorator, so he would get contracts to go out to people's houses. Usually they'd moved out, and there'd be like stuff left over, and the contractors or the company would say, "Oh, you could just take whatever. There's a box over there. You can just rifle through it." And so a lot of times people would leave toys, sometimes accidentally, and I would end up with some hand-me-down toys, and that's how I got my very, very first Lego set. Was in a box somewhere. There was a little six-piece little moon buggy with a spaceman on it, and that was like, what am I looking at right now? This is the coolest thing I've ever seen. And then I was super
So
hooked to it, and every uh-huh.
so that immediately makes me think that your first hit was free.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. They definitely got their money's worth after the first hit for sure. And then I got this fireboat from the 90s. It was a red, and anytime, again, kids are simple, right? Big red boat, firemen in their cool uniforms. It was just like it speaks to your kid brain in a very fundamental way. So that was my first like set, and that was another one that was like partially complete. For some reason, there was a lot of like boxed Lego sets available at what we would call car boot sales, but what we call here in England either a yard sale or a flea market type situation. And yeah, we would. So I got a few different sets, and I got the Moonbase one, the classic space Moonbase thing from again also like mostly complete. It was such a weird time, right? So you'd see like there'd be a box and there'd be like a jigsaw puzzle and some doilies and some used t-shirts, and then a fully complete Lego set missing like two pieces or something. And it's like yeah, £5, and you're like, what? Well, okay, yeah, give me that.
Yeah, the best lots I got were kind of similar, but all of them in a box. Like you had one or two pieces missing from like five or six sets, but also some
Hmm.
like half melted candle and like some Playmobil and some other sometimes like thumbtacks in there, which was not so fun to find
Yeah,
out when you were like
yeah.
rifling through the bottom of the box. But yeah, if you pick that,
Sometimes you find a pog or two, maybe.
yeah, flippos like they call them here, but pogs, yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. Or some random beads, and you have to like look twice and be like, this definitely isn't Lego, right? Yeah, there's always stuff like that.
Yeah, and even if you say, yeah, this definitely isn't Lego, then you throw it away, and then you later find out that there's something called Jack Stone that does not look like a Lego minifig, but was actually
Yep,
real Lego, and you threw it in
yep.
the bin because it was
I've done that exact
yeah.
thing. Yep. Or
So
if you get
yeah,
something from like Scala or what was the one with the animals or Scala? I don't know how you pronounce it. None of those look like Lego or Galador.
Galador, that doesn't even ring a bell.
Yeah,
What is
there's
the?
a lot of obscure. I think it was like Knights stuff, but it kind of looked like the Bionicle system a little bit.
Huh.
There's a lot of weird stuff for sure.
Yeah, and there's also like the bricks that I think for architecture that were like very tiny. I think M2 or something. I also had those in a box. I thought this for sure isn't Lego, so I also chucked it, and then later found out that apparently that's very expensive. Well, you live and
Oh
learn.
no.
And
Hmm.
as Bjorn points out, the worst thing to find in those boxes is hair, human hair, like
Oh,
sticking everything
oh
in them.
no. I was gonna say the worst thing is when you get a really nice, like a classic Lego Star Wars set that's complete, and then you turn it around and like a kid has scribbled on it with permanent marker or something. But no, human hair is definitely worse. You got me there. I guess not.
Because yeah, I guess if I ever get my hands on a big set of Bionicle again, I think I'm just going to put it on eBay and target the US because apparently people really like it over there. So
It was funny too because I had a bunch of Bionicle, even though I wasn't a Bionicle fan at all back then, because it's one of those things where people would see Lego and they would see and they'd go, "Oh, it's for older kids." So I was getting those when I was like 15, 16. People would always give them to me for gifts, and I'd be like, "Yay, another one of these." But I really didn't know anything about the Bionicle lore or any of that. I've come to since appreciate it a lot more, though. I actually think it's pretty cool. It's interesting too from a Lego history standpoint. Like they had this whole lawsuit over cultural appropriation of names of actual real world uh, characters from religious faith that were being uh, or like cultural myths that were then being like exploited and sold, and there was sort of a interesting lawsuit that happened about that. So then for later seasons of Bionicle, they had to kind of pivot and change some of the names or ditch some of the characters. It's all very fascinating. The amount of Lego esoterica that is out there that you can just dive deep onto like so many specific rabbit holes, it really is endless. It's kind of like Disney trivia or Star Wars trivia. Like there's always more to know. No, it's always a deeper rabbit hole, no matter how deep you go. Right, we're getting
Perhaps,
pretty close here on this AT. Getting pretty close.
yeah.
It's actually pretty respectably shaped, and I like that they didn't go too insane with the decorations. It's actually pretty tasteful so far. It's a lot of fun. I'm liking this one a lot, and the gingerbread color of the dark orange and the medium nougat is it looks tasty. I want to eat it, which is it's kind of funny because we were joking beforehand about how we can top like hot ones and stuff by forcing ourselves to eat Lego bricks on camera. And I kind of do want to eat these actually.
Yeah, now you have tasty Lego, so yeah, if you're up for a quiz, I can still try to. What was the first thing that Lego ever made?
Well, they used to make wooden toys, but I know there was other stuff as well. So I'm gonna say wooden toys because that's the what comes to mind. But
I didn't look it up, but I think 2bricks named this channel after the duck being the first thing that Lego made. So a wooden duck, as you said, it's
that's
a wooden
right.
toy.
That's right.
But that's about the only, I think, trivia that I know from the top of my head. Go ahead.
The name Lego, where that came from?
Lego, but it's not let go. It's
It's like
I make
leg got. It's no, I can tell you what it is. It's play
yeah,
well.
play well.
So there's that, and also a fun bit of trivia that Jangbricks always likes to bring up to remind people: Lego fully stole the original idea and patent and the shape of the Lego brick from another company. They just did it better, so they were the successful ones.
They had better clutch power, perhaps. Saying that, I do remember that like the very first Lego sets I handled, I think a very old Lego set at a convention once. They didn't have good clutch power. They were very like very loose. If you push them around, they would just disconnect.
There's a lot of stuff,
Ah,
even people forget, even in the 90s, there were still a lot of issues with clutch power, and they still hadn't figured it out fully.
what is your favorite current official Lego set? If you have to choose
Man,
one and all the others you need to put in the shredder. So only one.
oh Jesus, this is hard. Okay. Out of my current collection, I had so much fun building and looking at the UCS Slave 1 version 2. I think I'm gonna have to trash everything else I own and keep that. I still just marvel at that thing sometimes. The Razor Crest came very close, but the colors and the shaping is just so beautiful on the Django Slave 1. I have to give it to that one. The Django Fett Starship. And by the way, it does not hurt anyone to say the words Django Fett Starship any more than it does to say Slave One. So deal with it.
But it's the one instance where I don't really get why it was done because like I don't know if the has that ever been
I
addressed?
they've never said specifically Lucasfilm Disney they're never going to address something like that, but I suspect that the United States complicated history with the word slave may have played a role in that decision, I suspect. Yeah.
Someone did point out that, like, just to briefly touch to close off that thing, that the reasoning might have been marketing because, as you said, just the word in general is a bit sensitive, and yeah, for us, like, we're old people, and for us, yeah, we've known, at least me, I've been watching Star Wars a long time, since the time that there were only 3 movies. But for the younger generation, they probably know Boba Fett. That name's been around in Clone Wars and so on. But
Yeah.
the ship doesn't really get mentioned. Probably the same with why they're now calling
The Black Pearl.
the Black Pearl.
See,
Why it's now,
you don't even know the name yourself.
yeah, proving the point. So yeah,
Yes.
yeah, then
Yeah,
it does kind of make sense. Yeah,
there was a
why not?
theory that I think is incredibly incorrect that I saw somebody put forward that they changed the name of the Slave One and the Black Pearl because they both have to do with troubling racial histories in America, and that's not the case at all. Um, it literally is just that kids today, the first Pirates of the Caribbean came out in 2001. That was the Curse of the Black Pearl, and they don't really mention the name of the ship that much in the movies anyway, especially in the later ones. So I think the kids know Captain Jack Sparrow, so they just called it that. And the other thing is, Lego has made the Black Pearl, and they've also made Slave One multiple times. So it's just easier for colloquial conversation needs, for people to be able to say, I'm getting the new, the fire spray one, not the Slave One. And it's just like it gives you another way to describe the product in a unique way, which helps Lego.
I
A
think
lot of
that
people will say it's because woke, and I don't think that's it at all.
yeah, because that to me doesn't make sense, and yeah. But anyway, they will spin anything into that kind of thing just to get the clicks going.
I'm done, by the way. I'm gonna bust open a
Aha!
new set in a minute, but ta-da! There it is.
Dun 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 dun.
Got the candy cane laser blasters. Very nice. I think we got semi. Oh no, we do. We have nice positionable legs. Yeah, this is a fun one. I'm glad they made this. I'm gonna put Darth Santa in here and see if he fits in his little space. Oh, he does. He does. Very nice. Okay. I really enjoyed the little Christmas diorama thingy that they did for the Millennium Falcon. And I hope they do more stuff like this. It's fun. But yeah, there he is. I confess I like the Christmas Millennium Falcon diorama more because I enjoy the idea of minifigures celebrating the holidays instead of holiday-themed versions of pre-existing vehicles that exist in their own weird holiday-themed universe. But I'm probably overthinking it.
Celebrating the holiday with that holiday being Live Day, and there having been an infamous Live Day special
Yes.
that was made from Star Wars. I kind of get why they perhaps try to veer in another direction to make it a bit more palatable
Yeah.
than that special was.
Well, something that's frustrating about this is that it goes perfectly with the kind of candy cane X-Wing that they did as a Lego store employee exclusive item, which is like costs $1,000 plus if you want to get it new in the box now on Bricklink. And because this goes so perfectly with that, it's kind of like incentivizing people to try to seek that one out when I don't think anybody should. You can spend your money in way better ways. Oh, I have a new arch piece that I've never gotten before. It's the first thing I just opened up in this little set here. But are you at all excited for the Mandalorian and Grogu adventures on the big screen?
I have the habit of possibly not being critical enough of things I watch. Like, rarely I will say that something is bad when I watch it. I kind of have probably
I'm kind of the same way.
Probably the inverse problem where I will say, oh yeah, I enjoyed this, until I hear from other people why I'm wrong, and they start pointing out the things, and I kind of start seeing all the things that I didn't notice because I was
No,
focused on the good things.
don't let them. Don't
And
let them tear you down.
then I say, yeah, I think one of the only exceptions is the very first Dungeons and Dragons movie that they made in the 90s. Like the second one
Yeah.
or the third one like 2 years ago was very good. But for people who don't know, there was a first version of it with Jeremy Irons that was
Hmm.
terrible. That over time has become good if you want to watch it to just have a fun night laughing with people at how bad it is. But
There's a lot of funny bad movies that can be just as entertaining. The
I,
Mandalorian and Grogu.
I think they can probably do fun stuff with it. So I'm for the moment still hopeful. The trailer was a bit perhaps not too encouraging, but yeah, I'll open mind. Plus, I already forgot what it actually was about, so we'll see. We'll see. And
I
you?
don't think I don't think we know what it's about yet. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I what I've tried to do over time is to cultivate the right mindset and calibrate my expectations based on what I'm about to watch. And so if I know that I'm going to be going and watching, some silly adventure movie, I kind of try to lock in on that mindset. So I think I'll be able to enjoy it just fine. I'm not expecting it to be some, earth-shattering emotional story drama. It's just going to be a bit of fun, and could use a bit of fun now and
Yeah.
then.
Yes, and especially with Star Wars, I think like probably what allows people to enjoy Star Wars and still in their heads be like, I want to be very critical of what I'm watching, is how badly they understand how space works. Because
Yes.
all of Star Wars doesn't make sense. Like the way space battles go, that's not how space works. Like
Yeah.
spaceships fly the way that airplanes work because that looks better, and I think I will agree. That looks
Hmm.
a bit more cool. But if you want to look at a more realistic style of what space combat is, I forget the name of the series, but a different
Expanse.
The Expanse, yeah. So if you want to
Yeah.
look at realistic space battles, look at The Expanse. If you want to have fun and just be a bit less critical of is it realistic or not, Star Wars is very welcoming. There's all kinds of stories in Star Wars, but just in general, I think it's a good idea to just approach all Star Wars with this.
Yeah. Yeah. A bit. Just be a bit more forgiving with your expectations of the realism of this space fantasy. I, the thing is, when people say that doesn't make sense or that's not how space works, what they're saying is intuitively what I'm seeing didn't feel right to me. And okay, that's fine. You can feel that way, but that doesn't mean it's wrong or it breaks with canon or it breaks with physics because all like you said, all of that stuff does from the very beginning. So from the very first moment you see a spaceship in Star Wars, it's already against all of the laws of physics. What I found is I was very, very sad when David Lynch passed away. Was it now 2 years? No, last year or 2 years ago? It was a while ago because he expressed this so perfectly to me. It was, you know, people people watch media and they know how they feel about it, but they question that and they fight that and they second guess themselves to the point where they convince themselves that they actually did not have a good time watching something that they had a good time watching. And it's it's not a good way to be. You should trust your emotions and your feelings and you should allow yourself to be taken along on the journey that you want to be taken along on without this need to like defend, well, this was good because I'm going to debate you on the story points of X, Y, and Z. Just trust your intuition. If you liked it, that means you liked it. It's fine, you know. Uh, and he also said how we filmmakers go to a lot of trouble to translate words into the language of cinema, and then all anybody wants to do is take that and turn it back into words again when they're done, rather than just enjoying the experience of being in cinema. And I very much agree with that mindset. So if I go and I watch, like I enjoyed The Rise of Skywalker very much when I watched it, I'm not going to question that. I know that there's a lot of stuff about it that is silly when you look back on it, but that doesn't mean I'm going to discount the experience that I had watching it, you know?
It is, I think, the second movie where I had at the time that I was watching it already a feeling of, if you don't want spoilers, cover your ears. Or then Sidious comes back. Yeah,
I don't
that
think
to
anybody knew
me,
about that, bro. Spoiler alert.
yeah, yeah. Now all that what happened in the third movie or the sixth one, depending on how you count, kind of feels cheapened. But I do agree because I still love The Last Jedi and Force Awakens, and I can stomach, I guess, The Rise of Skywalker. I've tried to kind of see it for what it is, and okay, some of the explanation does make it a little better. Where yeah, it's not really him; it was a VAT clone or something that they brought back, and yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
But still,
And that's fine, you know?
usually
That
I
was the
agree.
experience you had, and it's fine. Like I've never really understood the need for people to debate not like the actual, the cinematography, the score, the directing, but just debate people's enjoyment of it. Like you were wrong to not enjoy it, and here's why. Like, no, I think that's very silly. You didn't like it didn't vibe with you. That's all good, you know? There's a lot of stuff like that where and that doesn't mean like, don't be critical of the media you consume, but I think it's more like a lot of people I think feel dirty after they they enjoy a movie that then all of their friends say was bad, and then they feel like they need to convince themselves that actually no, they didn't enjoy it either. It was all an illusion. They were tricked. They were temporarily insane, and then they go back and rationalize it. And I think that's a waste of your valuable time on Earth.
Quickly go through a bit of the chats because for the first time ever, were actually a few people chiming in at different points.
This
So
thing is so
after
cool.
our period's kid in the 80s, he had a brief hiatus and then getting back to Lego in his 50s. So he's even
Welcome
older than
back.
me even. Welcome back, yeah. Some in the Lego sphere call that hiatus their dark ages.
It's very
And
dramatic, and I like
and
it.
then welcome Hoarder 66. And indeed, it is 2bricks that we have. That's a nice point for me to spot for me to point out that most of his mocks available on Rebrickable, and that way you can build them at home. And if you want to know what that's like, you can watch like a third of my videos are about his amazing builds, among which the Mantis Stinger there in the back is a very prime example. You need a little bit more strength to pick this one up. It
Yeah,
has some heft.
that
Kaspar
one was so
Chan.
freaking fun to design. Like all
Uh,
the amount of stuff that you can take off and the depth of the layers of that you can peel off on that thing was so fun to design.
the latest builds, I think, both for the Ghost and for the Mantis, if you want to know some of the secrets, 2bricks did a design behind the scenes, how he came up with the techniques. He even did it in steps so you can actually see the design evolve over time.
Yes, I had when I was growing up in England, I had a Sega Mega Drive with the red, and there was also a Sega Mega Drive with the gray, and then so sorry, when I was growing up in England, that's what I had, and then here in America, it was called the Sega Genesis. So I'm gonna go with the red because that's my particular brand of nostalgia. I think that's really cool that they put that in there.
But I never played much of it. I did play the first Sega, the 8 bits. To me, coming from Nintendo, that didn't feel right to handle. And then I
I
got
felt the same
stuck.
way trying to go the other way when I first picked up a Nintendo controller. I was like, "What is this?"
Makes sense. Makes sense. That's a rich tapestry of history that we can delve in another episode.
David Lynch almost directed Return of the Jedi. George Lucas
Poss-
flew him out to show him all the plans, and David Lynch spent the day with him, rode around in his convertible around San Francisco, and he showed him some of the storyboards, and he was like, "Then George showed me this thing, and he said this is a Wookiee." And I was like, "I don't know what any of this is, man. I gotta go." And then he just left. It's very funny too because I think he regretted that, and that's why he ended up doing Dune, and he also regretted doing Dune very much. So yeah, poor David Lynch.
Ah, but you mean the original ones?
Mhm.
Because you mean the first? Ah, I didn't know that the original Dune was David Lynch directed. Casper, I think he does web computer sciences now, but apparently before he was archaeology student. And he says that yeah, the Indiana Jones movies have done some harm. But I would argue that probably Indiana Jones movies also brought in a lot of new students who possibly with the wrong idea. And I can
Yes.
imagine I did some Japanology because I liked anime. So with wrong expectations, I also came into yeah, Japan is great because look at anime, Mega Drive in the
Oh,
UK, Genesis in the States. Like
it's a lot of you guys in here chatting. I'm
yeah,
glad to.
suddenly also Alpha Indigo pointing out that you are a legend and to keep it up.
I assume that's directed at you.
No. Love the Manta Stinger. 2bricks. You are a legend. Keep it up.
Thank
I
you.
basically try to record for history what I like of yeah. It's basically the 2bricks fan channel, and then got stuck in my head a bit. So I'm trying to also show other people making cool bricks like
Really see it from
Buffman
here,
Bricks.
but
Yes, who has the same principle of making something that's playable, and by making it playable, I think he spends a lot of attention of making it something that feels like it's lived in. Far less rolling boulders and exploding temples. And yeah,
the Hunger Games did so much for the hobby of archery, but there's very little real archery in it. But you know,
with a leading question, what is your coolest Lego or Lego related moment?
there's probably two that stick out. So the first was when I was working at DreamWorks and I was on How to Train Your Dragon, and I built a large scale toothless model. I don't think I was really the best animator, but I think I succeeded at making a really cool toothless Lego model that a lot of people were really excited to see. And it sort of became part of the tour. Like people would give tours of the campus to friends and family, and then people would always stop by my desk to look at the model. And that was the first time that I realized that I really enjoy making models that people gawk at. And it kind of fueled me to take another step forward into doing this. So yeah,
The
that was
origins of 2bricks.
yeah, a little bit. I was like, oh, I think I kind of like this positive attention thing. Maybe I'll keep trying to get that. And then I guess the second would be the first time I ever went to a Lego convention, seeing kids light up when I would demonstrate the features. Like, I think I had brought my Ghost and my X-wing and the Stinger Mantis, so I would demonstrate, the X-wing S-foils popping open, and kids, their eyes would light up. Whoa, that's the coolest thing! And or take off, like first I would show the rotating wings on the Stinger Mantis, and people like, oh, that's so cool, and then I'd take off the whole top, and they're like, what? Is the interior too? So yeah, that stuff I think just getting to see other people's reaction, because when I'm up in my attic just building, I don't get a lot of that feedback. And YouTube is nice too because people can leave comments, but it's never quite as good as that visceral, like you see their eyes go super big and their pupils dilate. So yeah, that's probably it for me, I think.
It is kind of cool that you didn't even mention the thing that I was thinking of.
Are you thinking of me meeting Neil Druckmann?
Oh, yes.
That was
I
very cool, but I almost don't associate that with the Lego side of things because yes, I was there to give Neil Druckmann the Lego that he ordered from me. That is true. But we just had a really cool conversation, and so that was just like I just remember that as a really cool conversation. And I don't associate it with Lego stuff. But you're
more
right, that is undoubtedly up there for sure. And plus, it's just fun to get to chat to somebody who's really creative and just like hear their perspective on things. We really
it's
didn't
kind
talk about Lego at all.
yeah. I'll quickly take a short to just quickly point out this floaty thing, and you can put Grogu in there. I think it's basically perfect. It's the only thing that I would say is that it's not in scale with all these other things I have, but the fact that you can pose the head in many different ways, the ears. So did you play the Genesis because you mentioned the PlayStation?
Yeah, so my very first console was the Sega Mega Drive 2. It was like an updated one with, I think it had a little bit more memory or something. I had a few games for that. I think my parents maybe didn't realize that you have to actually buy video games for the video game console. They didn't realize what they were getting into. So we had some games, but not that many. And then we really, I didn't have my own disposable income until PS2 came out, and that's when I started like spending all of my, pocket money, I guess, at that time. And then also just requesting all my gifts be converted into PlayStation 2 games. So yeah, but yeah, I did have the Mega Drive, and I had a PS1 as well. But again, only a handful of games for that.
We kind of have similar histories. It's just a different console, but I think at the same time we switched from Lego to games. But yeah, still very much into games since I'm making them now.
That's
And I
cool.
did also review Elias, I think Ellsworth on Rebrickable probably, XJ6, the very cool speeder scene where Anakin and Obi-Wan chase like this assassin, Zam Wessel indeed. Rumored that we're getting that set possibly in the next few years. Yeah, check that build out because it's very nice. It's also one of the more colorful spaceships that we have in Star Wars. Are you finished or?
Am I done? Yes, my build is complete.
Ah,
Yes,
okay.
I was gonna bust open another box, but then I'm like, I don't really have any models here to show off. I mean, I'm sort of in the middle of building the T6 shuttle, so I have that in pieces around me. So because I keep translating it into instructions slowly, slowly. But I don't really have anything around me to show. But one thing I was going to mention is that Zam Wessel, the bounty hunter, we've had thousands and thousands of minifigures representing that character because she's a shapeshifter.
Aha. Are there things you would want to make more of, but the only thing that is kind of stopping you is a lack of interest? People watching, go watch some of that stuff if you also agree you want to see more of it.
It's also no, so that almost never enters into my mind. It's actually pretty much 100% what my special interest funnel is that month. Uh, that's really
Okay.
what it comes down to because there's so many things that I've done where I was like, well, this is just for me. No one's ever going to watch this, and then the video ends up doing really, really well, and the instructions sell really well, and then vice versa, where I'm like, well, everyone's definitely going to want this, and then it just does nothing. So I can't pay attention to that stuff, and I don't, and I just think about like, where's my passion right now at this moment, and then I try to just steer into that because yeah, my the way my brain chemistry works, it craves a new thing to focus on for the moment. So I have to I have to go with it, Can't fight it.
We've seen some videos on the 12-foot Venator.
Yes.
Any teasers about when we could get an update of that?
Yes. First of all, it's 10 feet. I don't want to be caught being misrepresenting myself.
Right,
I feel
someone
like
is
Han
saying 12
Solo
feet.
being
Yeah, sorry.
like, it's 12. The Kessel Run, I made it in 12 parsecs. Yes, I am working on it, and I was recently setting up a winch that raises and lowers a ship out of the underside hangar bay,
Ah, yeah.
and that will be featured in the next update. Obviously, my goal is to get the hull plating for the whole back bottom section done, and that'll be where I cut it for the video. Basically, the main thing is the hangar bay is going to have a ship actually with a mechanism that I'm going to be motorizing to raise and lower the ship in and out of the underside hangar, and that's the big kind of feature. And it's taking a little while to get all that figured out,
like the Venator, it takes time, like all your other things. It's just something very big, so you need a lot of Lego. Which
Yeah,
do you think is the biggest hurdle, the time or the actual money that you need to spend on this one? Because I can imagine
money.
that, yeah, well. So again,
Yeah.
if you want a bit quicker update, people buy more instructions or tell your friends about all the awesome instructions that you've found.
Yeah. So here, I'll give you a little example. So if I want to work on like a 1 foot by 1 foot section of paneling, right? I go to I go to my local bricks and minifigs store and I grab up a grab bag of gray Lego. I'll spend like $50 to get a medium sized bag. That pretty much will cover me for that 1 foot by 1 foot square of hull plate. But now I have to make several more feet of hull plate in all directions, and then I have to make and so I keep getting into this situation where I like keep hitting those barriers of like I'm out of parts again kind of thing. So yeah.
Another way to help, of
Yeah.
course, is to share the videos of those Venator builds,
Yes.
because those also then give some YouTube backing.
Yeah, share it with everyone you know, get some interest going. And that'll also inspire me by giving me, more people saying, "Where's the next Venator update?" And me going like, "Ah, I gotta get it done." So, it helps on all
Okay,
fronts.
if you say it like that, then I will, after all, mention the Serenity builds. Just
Yes.
there is one person still interested in that, so if ever you get the inspiration and the energy for that, and two for
So here's
Serenity, so
I have the order. I have the order of how I'm doing things this year. So I'm gonna get the
ah,
T6 done first. I'm going to finally do the Clone Wars revised version of the gunship. I have an X-wing modification that I'm working on for getting like the T what is it, T75, the sequel era X-wing up to the same standard as my new version, and then also doing some recolors for the standard T65 X-wing. It was the T70, that's the sequel one. And then Serenity, that's probably going to be October, November, December this year is
okay.
my plan. That's how I have it laid out. However, things take way longer all the time than what I predict, so I'll probably but it's in there. It's in the schedule.
So
Serenity is happening, and I'm going to be redoing it basically from scratch.
I've had a feeling that that is the problem, and I've also had the
Yeah.
feeling that I could say, yeah, but you don't need to, but it's impossible, right? Because you've had all this experience, you cannot just put it out like it was, because you see, like,
Right.
basically you're an artist, and all artists, if
Yeah.
they look at old work, they say this is rubbish, so I need to redo it. I will mention that two other people have mentioned it also in chat, that they also like the Serenity.
No, no, I love the ship, and that's why I started building it in the first place. I think I made a mistake initially with the scaling of it. So what I did was I looked at the UCS Millennium Falcon, and I kind of looked at the length measurement of that, and I was like, okay, well, if Lego can make an official set this big, I'll make my Serenity that big,
And
and
it's humongous.
it's too big. It's too big. It's too heavy. It's too unwieldy. The engineering is still holding up because I can still pick it up to this day and nothing falls off. But I can engineer it just as good, but scale it down just a little bit to where it's more practical, it's
It
less
You
expensive,
still
and
have
it's going
it?
to be way. I still have it, yeah.
Could I just
Yeah, yeah, it's
ask you
still.
to make a quick short? Just asking, perhaps that way you can say, okay, if you are interested in this, and then see how many comments. That could be a way to gauge interest to kind of for current YouTube.
Yeah.
If
I
anyway,
mean, it's definitely happening. I'm doing it. So, and by making it slightly more play scale, I'll have to have a few more sort of compromised proportions slightly. But I think I've learned how to balance that in a pretty good way
definitely.
where you're still squeezing things down a little bit on the interior, but it's acceptable. So yeah,
Look,
but I have plans for sure.
we're closing on in time. So, is there anything you want to share
Well, you can follow me on Instagram and Facebook and all those things. The links for all those are always down in the bottom of every video. So just check out
of
my
his? Of
YouTube
his?
channel, Two
Yeah.
Bricks. And then jump in the Discord because we have a lot of fun over there. It's a really good community. And check out my Patreon because I'm actually quite proud of the stuff I'm doing on there. And not everything that's on there will make its way in out to the regular public either. So there's some cool stuff on there. But basically, you know, Lego's fun. I want everyone to just have fun, and whatever like level you're at of your expenditure and the time that you're putting into it, just have fun. And I think, you know, I want to be a voice to cut through a lot of the hate and negativity online, and it's I hope it's working, and I hope that there's more people out there who are taking the message that you can still be positive and have a good time, and not have to like rage bait to get clicks, and it could still be good. So yeah, hopefully you guys get a kick out of it.
Your set was your set was the first custom I ever made, and I think the positivity in your video was what drew me in to actually making it. So I would agree that that's why I like your community and your space, and I would agree. As a Discord, join it. There's more room, a lot of fun people, fun things being shared, and so on. And I think that is it for me today. I think we've had a very good stream, and people are already pointing it out that they enjoyed it. So I think they agree. Thanks for watching. Thank you, Richard, for agreeing to do
Thanks
this.
for
I
having
hope
me.
it was fun. And
Yeah, super fun.
see you on the Discord, see you on YouTube, and see all of you again. Bye-bye, everyone. Thank you.